Hi everyone, welcome back to Acres of Clay. Today I am back in the kitchen where I am making the last of my tomatoes from the garden for 2020. I decided I would make one more batch of pasta sauce. So that is what is on the stove. It's in the canner right now, and that's probably the noise that you're hearing also. Today I actually wanted to take you on a tour of my home canned pantry. I have a pantry that we built in our garage, and I'm going to take you down there and show you what I have in there. And I've actually added up all the jars that I have canned, and I will share that number with you towards the end of the video. Before we go to the garage, I wanted to address a few of the questions that I've had several people ask about, and that is my dehydrator. I have been mentioning in other videos that I've been dehydrating foods, but I haven't really been showing that on the videos. So some of you have been asking questions, and I wanted to address that. The type of dehydrator that I use is called an Excalibur. I don't really know what the style number is. It has 9 trays, and it works fabulous. It has a temperature control on it, and you can kind of set it to how the temperature that you want to dehydrate your food at. You can set it at a real low temperature. You can make yogurt with it, or you can make jerky with it. Whatever. It's very multi-purpose, useful, and I just absolutely love that. I have had my first food dehydrator was called a Ronco food dehydrator, which was bought off of an infomercial. Maybe some of you have seen that commercial 20 years ago or so. And that was my first dehydrator, and I loved that. And I actually had 2 of those. And then I went to one that actually had a fan and a Nesco one. I've had several different varieties of dehydrators, but my Excalibur is so far my favorite. And what have I been doing with the dehydrator? I've been dehydrating some of the stuff from the garden. These are peppers. Don't know if you can see this very well, but these are all my sweet bell peppers. I have several jars that are full of these, and that's what I've been doing because I just picked the last of the ripe ones. I still have a lot of like green small peppers still in the garden, but they're not very mature yet, so they taste a little bit immature. I've also been dehydrating tomatoes. Tomatoes are great to dehydrate. You can dehydrate them several different ways. Try to find a whole one here. So this is what it looks like. You can see that. And I dehydrate them until they're crisp. I don't know if you can hear that actually. So I dehydrate them until they're crisp, or until, like, when you drop it on the counter, it kind of sounds like plastic or something. So I like to make sure that they are well dehydrated. I also dehydrate pureed tomatoes. I just leave the skins on and the seeds in, and I throw them in my Vitamix and I puree them. And I actually think I have a video clip, and if I do, I will place it in right about here, where I share with you how I do the tomato powder. So these tomatoes are ready to go inside my jar, but these are just pureed tomatoes. I put these through my blender, then I pour it on these sheets and put them on here, and then I dehydrate them. Takes probably 6-8 hours to dehydrate, depends on how thick you make them, of course. And then, like this is how it usually looks. Then once they're still a little pliable, I take them off of the mat. Makes it easier for getting them off. And then I just finish dehydrating them on this tray. The reason for that, it just seems to do a better job getting them off of the mat. Then I let it dehydrate until it's crisp. Completely dehydrated. No leatheriness to it at all. This will give it its longest life. And then I stick it in the jar, just like this. Then I just place them in the jar, just like this. And you can either crunch them up, because it all breaks up just like that. Or what I did earlier was I used my immersion blender and made it into a very fine powder. And you can use this in any dish, anything that you want to add a little tomato to, flavoring it, whatever. So you can see that I still have some that I haven't run through the mixer or the grinder yet, and they're just flakes. You can keep them in like this and throw them in your soups or stews or dish, whatever dish you want, or you can pulverize it like I have at the bottom, this part, and then it's just like a powder, and that works really good. Just throw a little bit in. A little bit goes a long ways with the dehydrated, because when you have a jar full of this powder, that's a lot of tomatoes that have been dehydrated. That's what I've been working on as far as dehydrating. And then canning. I have 7 quarts of pasta sauce going. I probably have about 10 quarts total, but the first 7 quarts are in the canner right now. All right, let's go to the garage. Okay, so here is my pantry. I'm gonna address a couple of the questions that a lot of you have asked me over the year and a half that I've been doing videos. I get asked quite often, since this is in our garage and that back wall is actually against our house. We built this garage in 2016 or 17, right in there. We built this with the knowledge that we knew we wanted a place to store all of our canning goods, and so we wanted to make sure that we built an area that was going to stay dark and cool year around. Some of you have asked, does it stay cool enough in the summertime? Where we have it, how we have it, it does stay cool in the summer. I've never put a thermometer inside the cupboards to know how cool it does stay, but I know that it doesn't get real hot in the garage itself during the summer, and those doors always stay closed, except for like right now, where I have them open. But so they do stay cool in the summer, and in the winter it does not freeze in our garage. We insulated this very well, and it doesn't freeze. And none of those jars are ever going to get frozen. That would not be good, but we knew that going into building the garage that we didn't want it to freeze in here. So yes, it stays cool and dark year around. So right now our pantry is at the fullest. I don't know if you can see the whole thing. Other than this area, that is where our printer and our server are actually stationed. And we have had the question, doesn't the server create a lot of dust and heat? And it does not. It doesn't. It might create some heat, but it doesn't create enough heat where it warms the cupboard up. And so this here area is at its fullest right now. This time of the year where I'm taping this is October, the middle of October, and so this is full, okay? I do can year around, but the majority of my canning takes place in the summer and fall months, just like most of you who can. But I do can like meat and soups and broths, bone broths, all different kinds of broths, and like your dry beans. I'll do all of that in the winter months, when things aren't quite so busy. So that's when I usually do that kind of thing. This is as full as you're gonna see it. Actually, this is full, too full, that I had to actually use this other cupboard. This is another cupboard. It doesn't have the shelves in that cupboard like these do, because that stores our central vacuum system, so it doesn't have the shelving. I will show you in there and show you how I have the canned goods stored in there temporarily, not for I usually will only use that for temporary storage. All right, I'm gonna bring you up closer. You can have a look-see, and then towards the end of the video, I'm gonna actually share with you how many jars, how many quarts, pints, and half pints I have, and a total of how many jars I have canned, not just this year, but in the last few years, because we rotate, but some foods in here are not this year's. Some of them are as old as 2018, especially like my jellies. Those I will make a whole bunch of, and then the next year I don't have to can that specific thing. So I kind of can ahead, but there are, you know, some of the foods like the pickles and the peaches and stuff, we go through those every single year. So there's not much left over from the previous year, other than my jellies and some like applesauce. Applesauce, I sometimes will can a whole bunch of that one year, and then the next year I won't have to can any of it. So let me bring you in closer and I'll show you what we have. Okay, so I do have to use a step ladder to reach way to the top. These doors, I forgot to mention, are 10 foot doors. So I believe this is 10 foot. And then I think they go back 3 foot deep. So when you look in here, you can see that most of them are, the quarts are six quarts deep. The pints are 7 pints deep. So that's kind of how that goes. Top shelf here is green beans. This is some barbecued chicken and peaches. These are extra peaches. I have more peaches down further. It's kind of not even organized that great, but I did with what I could. So here's tomato juices, sauce. These are pickled peppers, more green beans. These are soups. This is actually grape juice. I only had a handful of grape juice since we didn't have many grapes this year, and the place that we picked grapes at, they were not open this year, so that was sad. But these are beans, so these are just regular navy beans. I probably have pinto beans, black beans, like that. This is a soup. This is bean. Oh, these are beans with tomato juice and bacon in it. That's all that is. These are all soups. These are bean soups, chicken, like chicken noodle soup, chicken vegetable, chicken noodle, chicken vegetable, stuff like that. These are pickles. This year my pickles didn't do as well as I was hoping. My kids love pickles. So yeah, I didn't probably get as many pickles as I would have liked because blight hit the pickle plants pretty early on this year. But these are dill pickles, more peaches. I think it looks like we've used some. And then pasta sauce, more pickles, and these are apple pie filling. I'd like to actually can some more apple pie filling before the end of fall. We will see. I have to make it to the orchard though. These are all of our dilly beans. Well, not all of them, but these are a majority of the dilly beans, and these are just regular green beans. And in here I have pumpkin, I have applesauce, pear sauce, I have beans, like your pinto beans, your black beans, navy beans. Then I also have, I think there's some broth in the back there. Then there's more pickles and more beans. Lots of beans this year. This is all tomato products right here. Pasta sauce. This is pizza sauce in the littler jars. There's green beans. I just stick them everywhere, you know. And then I have salsa. So this is all salsa. These are more pickled peppers, more dilly beans, and then there's more pickles back there. Down here is a variety of things. So this is Sloppy Joe sauce and salsa. I have some ham stock back here. I have hamburger. here. This is ham, just canned ham. This is, what is this? This is split pea and ham soup back there. Pasta sauce up here. It's all pasta sauce really. And then this is barbecued pork. Probably can't see that very well. And then back is green beans. So we'll start at the top with this one. You can't see too well, but this is all soup again. Different soups. So this one's a bean and ham. And then I have, this is taco chicken. So it's chicken that's got taco seasoning. This is plain chicken. More barbecued pork. Pork loins. I think that's all pork loins. And then this is basically all chicken and turkey. Ethan hunts wild turkey, so sometimes when he gets one, I will can that. Actually, this is pork. Yeah, this is pork because this year pork was on sale quite well. This is turkey right here, you can tell. And now we have more soups. So chicken. This looks like chicken noodle without the noodles, and bean and bacon. This is just beans with bacon, that's it. I don't think there's any other seasonings with that. I do have like a beef stew back there. You know, you can dig, you can find different soups. All these pint-sized jars are more salsa. More of a spicier salsa, I should say that. And you got about from here on out, that's all carrots. Some of them are like the baby carrots and some of them are just regular carrots. This is broth. This is some more pears, and then the rest from here on out is all of my jams and jellies. Alright, so over here, this is all gonna be sauces, pizza sauce, barbecue sauce, or sloppy joe sauce. That's what all of this is. All from this side on is pickles, like my husband's favorite, which are bread and butter pickles, and relishes. Bottom, stewed tomatoes and tomato juice. Pretty much that's what that is. And then way down in the corner, that's all pizza sauce. Okay, so what I'm going to show you next is not how I recommend storing any jar. I don't condone it when people do store it this way, but it's not my preferred way of storing jars. And once my shelves get emptied off, I will actually be removing them from this cupboard, so I don't have to store them like that the whole time. So I have a box sitting on top of the other box, and that is not how I like to store my jars, but in this case I didn't have much else to do, and so I just chose green beans on the bottom. This is soup, more bean and bacon and vegetable soups. This is more salsa. These are potatoes. I think these are red potatoes, and yeah, that's all potatoes and pasta sauce. So that's the extra stuff that I don't have room for. I do have one more box of jars here that I have just potatoes in. I just canned these potatoes. I haven't put them anywhere. Obviously my shelves are not empty enough to put them in here, so I just have them sitting in the garage in a box, and then once more space comes available, I'll stick them in there. This is also with the pasta sauce that I'm making right now. I'll bring it in the garage, but I don't have any room on my shelves for it just yet. So I did, before I started this video, I added up all my jars. I added up how many quarts, how many pints, and how many half pints I had. Okay, so I will share with you how many I have in my pantry right now today, not counting what I have in the canner. What I have in the canner right now is 7 quarts. I did not add that into this number because I've been working on it just today. Okay, so half pints. I have 64 half pint jars in here, and mainly those are my jams and my jellies. That's really all that I use those jars for. They're just small, and yeah. So I have 64 of those. I thought maybe I had more than that, but 64 it is. All right, pint size. I didn't think I had this many pints, but I have 336 pints. So 336 pints with food in them. That is not including the ones that I have empty. All right, and then the quarts. So quarts is what I use most of the time, as you could tell when you were looking through. I love quarts, and I actually really love the wide mouth quarts. Those are my favorite to use, and I have 598 jars with food in them right now, making the total, when I add all 3 of them together, making that total 998 jars of food in my pantry. Of course, that number is going to be over 1,000 by the end of the day, but for right now, I have 998 jars of food in my pantry for us to eat throughout the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, whether canning or dehydrating or storing or whatever. And until next time, I hope you have a very blessed day. Take care.